Do you have clips that you're planning on playing?
Yeah, I've got it all ready. That's why I want this to work. So, oh, come on, you're going to make me do that all over again. Oh, so that's streaming already. So, Facebook. Let's see here. Stream key. So YouTube is working. File.
Love you. Good night.
There we go. Okay.
There's no doubt about how much Americans love movies. $6.54 billion was spent on movie tickets in 2022. But have we stopped for a minute to consider what we are spending our money on? In elementary school, we all learned about the structure of a story, or in this case, a movie. You have the introduction, inciting incident, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. But what I don't remember learning about was examining the influence movies have on our culture, ideas, and lives. Think about the last time you watched a movie. What was the general plot? Take the famous Christmas movie Die Hard, for example. Have you ever contemplated John and Holly McClane's marriage and why it's in shambles? Or the kids' movie Sing, where all the men in the movie are either in prison or mentally and emotionally absent. Or even deeper, in Shawshank Redemption, when Red is reading a letter left by Andy Dufresne. Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. Hope in what? And how do we know that it's truly good for it to never die? We watch movies well as a practice to carry this over into our daily lives. Because we agree with Andy. Hope is a good thing, but he's a person.
All right. We are live, Nick.
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
I just think you froze for a second. So
Awesome. So we are live, and we are using a new program. So we are going to test it tonight and see if it works. So this might not be the greatest, but you know what? We're going to learn one way or the other. So we're
you
live,
will.
or I will. That's right. That's right.
I'm just here, a couple 100 miles away, just sitting in an office room, doing nothing but talking to you. So
right.
you got everything else going.
Right. So before we get started, there's a few things that I want to go over. The first thing is, before we get into anything, as far as the content in today's video, we're going to be reviewing an interview that Shawn Ryan, and we'll go into who these people are here shortly, did with John Crist. And there is some language. So if you are watching with kids in the future or anytime in this video, just know this is the parental content advisory. There's some swearing later on in the episode that we will actually hear, and I just wanted to note that up front. Outside of that, do the social media thing. Like, subscribe, share the podcast if you could, and continue to support us. We greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to go over. I don't think so. Nick, we had some bad weather and we had to cancel last week.
Yeah, we actually had a really bad, it appears to have been bad about just a few miles from where I live. We had a tornado go through out in the county, and lots of homes damaged and things like that. So it was pretty rough. We're good here. It didn't touch down right where in our neighborhood or anything, but just not too far.
Yeah, we so Cody, my brother, and Carly, my sister-in-law, they're married. They went down, or they live down in Wapakoneta, and it just, dude, it got smoked. It got absolutely smoked down there. So praying for that community for sure. Let's see. Cool. I think we might as well just, get into it, don't you think?
Yeah.
We've got real quick, do you want to do the intro here? So if you want to talk about John.
I mean, I can share what I know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you just know more about him than I do, maybe a little bit more about his story to kind of give some context, and then I can talk maybe more about Shawn, the interviewer.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So this interview is with John Crist, who, if you know who he is, you know him as a comedian. He's been around for a long time, touring. Used to perform at a lot of churches. So if you go to a big church, you might have actually had him at your church, doing stand up. He might have been a guy that you brought in, for your church congregation and for the community. So he's been a comedian for a long time, and so I guess the content of the interview, if you want me to kind of jump in there, is just, I guess I don't remember the timing of it. Probably a little before the pandemic, I think, maybe around that time. So 2020 ish. It was found out that there was some stuff um, not perfect, I guess is the best way to say it, in his life, and because of that, things spiraled. And I don't want to give away too much because some people probably already know the rest. And then some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, we'll get into that. But so just know he's a comedian, Christian celebrity is probably the best way to describe him. Very funny guy. And the only thing else I would add, the only other thing is that he also is a pastor's kid. So he grew up with several siblings, and his dad is a pastor. So he grew up in church and is a Christian comedian. So I'll just leave it at that. And then we can let the content that we're going to be looking at kind of fill in any gaps that might be there.
Here, so maybe that's going to be better here. Okay, I'm going to say that real quick again just to make sure, because I don't think the mic was working. Like I said, we're using a new program here. We're learning. So real quick, just to sum it up, Shawn Ryan is the interviewer. He is a new company, or he started his YouTube channel with tactics training. He's a former Navy SEAL, and he has recently branched out with his YouTube channel and has started interviewing different people, not isolated to the veteran community. So he's really into documenting. Yeah, he's really into documenting history and just things that are happening as they happen with all these different people and stuff. So it's really interesting. I would really definitely check out the Shawn Ryan Show on YouTube or Spotify, iTunes. Giant footprint. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of their podcast, so really appreciate what they're putting out. And then I didn't know who John Crist was until recently, Nick. Until I actually went, made the trip to your house, and we recorded a couple of podcast episodes, and we got talking about him. And then when I heard this interview, I was like, hey, man, we got to react to it. So I sent you a text message. And then I went down the rabbit trail of all of John Crist's YouTube, not all of it, but a lot of his YouTube content. And one thing that he talks about in this clip that we're about to show is what does he call it? He calls it the new visitor or something like that, where he goes to these different churches as like a guest, and they're actually kind of fun. Like I really enjoyed him. He goes to like a cowboy church, and he goes to all these different churches, and it's kind of fun to watch him and his buddy. So
I can imagine. I haven't seen that particular videos, but I've seen all kinds of his videos, and I've known who he is for a long time. And so when you came to our house, I
Yeah.
think my wife said, "Hey, Nick got me and Liam present or sorry, her birthday present was tickets to go see John Crist."
Hmm.
And so when she said that, was that the first time you had ever heard his name?
So
Like,
that's the first time I made the connection on who he was. So I think prior to that, I had only seen one video of him, but I didn't know who he was. I just thought he was some random comedian on a stage. And I actually thought the bit he did, it was like a 2-minute video of like, or maybe not even 2 minutes. It may have been just like a short or something, a reel. And he did the bit on, uh the Christian upper middle class woman. He's talking about how consider it pure joy when the pool chairs aren't delivered by July 4th, that bit. And he's like,
yeah,
oh, I didn't think that
yeah.
that's what Paul meant when he was shackled in prison. Like, I thought that was
Hmm.
really funny. So, but
Yeah.
then you started talking about him when I, visited you guys, and yeah, that I started, and then I came home. I started making the connections after I watched this interview. So,
Yeah.
but but yeah, do you have
He's
any?
great. He's really good at what he does. Really
He's
good.
really funny. He's pretty funny. Do you have any opening thoughts before we jump into these videos on anything that I'm forgetting? I'm just worried that I'm going to forget and not give a good enough introduction because
No, I
I'm
think
dealing with a lot over here.
your introduction was great. The only thing I would say is, so I don't know, you said your mic might not have been working on your first introduction. So, and I don't know if you said it again, but you said that Shawn Ryan is starting to get into long form.
Well,
And the first thing,
he's been in long form for a while, at least a couple years, if not more. But when he first started, it was more about the veteran community and mental health and uh, just them telling their stories without a media bias or anything like that. He invites people on, he interviews them. He considers it their platform. I think he does a really good job.
yeah. So the first thought that came to my mind was, you're really not kidding about that, about long form, because this is a 5 hour interview.
Yes, it is a 5 hour
This
interview.
is
Yeah.
actually, it's like 5.5, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
it may
incredibly
be
long.
6 hours, and that's quite a few of his videos. They're 2+ hours long. And I keep saying videos. I apologize. That's how I consume content, is on YouTube. I watch the videos of everything, but just to be clear, he does have his podcast everywhere. I mean, it's a huge podcast. I mean, he's got like, I don't know, more than 2 million subscribers on YouTube and millions of downloads, and he's a big. His podcast is great, consumed by a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I'm gonna try to start our new program here. I'm gonna see if I can transition this in. We'll watch this clip. I think I tried to keep everything under 3 minutes, but don't time me on that. And we'll watch it. Hopefully, we'll hear it, and then we'll do a little response to it. Okay.
Morocco. I went on a Christian mission to Morocco in college, which is Muslim. It's in northern Africa. And I was like, wait. And I met so many nice people there and so many friendly people in the culture. It's unbelievable. And I go, wait, so my religion, according to my religion, all these people are going to hell. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait, these aren't like,
I can't hear this.
these are regular people.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're like me. Or they got kids. They like sports. We're talking about, I'm like, all right. It just like rattles you a little bit because you always think they're other than, or they're, they're like, oh.
I'm really interested in this because
So am I.
I told you at breakfast that I'm relatively.
Real quick, Nick, can you pull it up on your phone?
My phone is about to die. If I pull up a video, it's probably going to die faster.
Oh, bummer. I don't know how else to do it. I don't know why you can't hear it. Phone's not an option?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I don't know how to fix it. So we'll be right back, I guess.